Good
Good
evening, everybody.
evening. Hello, good
Hi.
afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world you are. Welcome to the CuppaChino Club's social TV channel, where we inspire change through conversation. And our conversation at the moment is all about COVID-19 or the coronavirus. And we're checking in on each other as a community and letting you know how things are going with each one of us as we go along. My co host is Viola Manuel. So, welcome, Viola.
Hi, Brigitte. Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. So if you're joining us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, welcome to each one of you, and a huge big welcome to Liesel. Liesel, how's your day been?
Good evening. I'm very well, very happy. I've been listening to the show a couple of days now, and I find that my day's taken a little bit of a different angle to what everyone else is saying. Everyone's saying that they're so structured, and I've done the opposite. We've got no routine in our house at the moment. I've got a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old, and so they wake up whatever time they feel like, and I just find that, we've had their days are so crazy. And so I'm taking the opportunity to just let them relax. And I just feel in general, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just taking this as a relaxed period. I do still work from home, so I do have to wake up at 8 o'clock. But yeah, the rest of everything else is less structured for me.
Well, you know what? I actually think that is it's not a bad approach, because I watched a video of someone who explained that, we kind of in a business unusual situation, and
Correct.
to try and normalize something that isn't normal may not be the best
Yes.
thing to do. And to try and force your children for this period now into a very regimented and strict routine may also not be the best thing, because we want to recognize that it's stressful for our children as well, and the younger they are, the more stressful. Although I've got a very, very good friend who's got teenagers, and she was telling me how crazy it is in her household, because the teenagers want to be with their friends, they want to socialize.
Yeah.
And
I had a very discussion this evening with my teenager.
so they're feeling cut off, they're feeling disconnected from their friends, that they want that, tactile relationship with their friends, and they can't have it. And so they're taking all that out on the parents, who's trying to not
Yeah.
just keep the home front going, but also running a business. So tell us a little bit about what your day job is.
Sure. So I work I do corporate sales in the travel industry, and more in the transport side of travel. So it's been very difficult for our industry, because our business is down 90%. So we rely a lot on corporate business, and we allow a lot of our business. 60% of our business is travel. So yeah, so it's been a very difficult time for the industry that I'm in. However, we do have a lot of our customers that's essential in the essential
Workers,
industry.
yeah.
So correct. So for instance, there's lots of hospitals and pharmaceutical companies, etc., that's still running, normal day to day. So we have been able to help them, and so we are still working from an operations point of view. But from a sales point of view, I'm at home and just doing it on a support structure with my customers. So I'm still speaking to my customers every day via email, like we were saying earlier, or rather in your previous sessions, that no hard calling. We're not doing any of that at the moment, being sensitive to that. But yeah, just that relationship building, still keeping that there. Accessing my emails 24/7, making sure the customers know I'm available. If there's any emergency. And but basically I work a couple of hours a day at the moment. We use mainly Zoom for conference calls and so on. And email. Email's been, the biggest thing that I've been using at the moment.
How challenging has this transition been to working online for you? Was it a fairly easy sort of switch to do this, or did you find it
It has been,
an adjustment?
No, it's been quite easy for me because with sales, we work on the road, so we work remotely a lot of the time. So it's been quite easy. We've got we still have our admin structure in place, so we still do have people working remotely for us that we can lean on if there's anything that we need from a administrative point of view. So yeah, so it's been quite simple for me, quite easy. The only thing that the biggest difference is that face to face with my customer is not there at the moment.
So you're not using sort of technologies at the moment yet with your customers where you're having a face-to-face
No, other
interaction.
than no, we haven't found the need to do that as yet. I phone customers quite often if something that was urgent. We'd call each other on normal telephone line, and otherwise emails has been sufficient.
Yeah. Liesl, you thanks for watching the show, and thanks for your comment yesterday on
Sure.
you guys have a great relationship. You and your boss have a great relationship. There's a very strong relationship of trust. And so this whole idea of working remotely works for you. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that? I just thought that was a really good comment, because we were having the discussion around, will this work for all teams?
Yeah. Yes, like I said, it's the relationship that I have with and with the team as well. We are 11 people in total in our team, including my manager, and we all have the same maturity, I would think, and the same relationship with our boss, who has that trust relationship with us. So none of us has ever given a reason to not not be able to trust us. So I think that's quite important, Viola, is that we're here to do a job. So I think you need to take it serious. So although we're working remotely, although you don't have someone micromanaging you, it's you're here with a goal at the end of the day. So and that's important. I have a goal. I have a good relationship with my manager. I have a good relationship with my team, with the support staff. That is very important that relationship stay in place as well. So yeah, it's all about the relationship and the trust. Yes.
Do you think people sort of have more of a sense of responsibility in terms of continuity because of the coronavirus, that they may not have had otherwise?
For me, it was for our team, it was a very easy transition. We went off actually a week earlier than the rest of South Africa because one of my colleagues, their spouse had an interaction with someone who was positive. And so our entire team went off a week earlier than the rest of South Africa. And that again was easy. It was easy for my boss to say, okay, guys, we're working from home. So the transition was we already have the conference calling in place. We already have the emails in place. We already have that relationships with our customers. Our customers all know us on a one-on-one basis. So yes, it was a very simple transition for my industry and for corporate sales.
I think it's wonderful to hear stories like that where companies are responsive, because we do hear stories where companies were not responsive and in fact downright breaking the law and forcing people to come to work. So it's good to hear of companies that have just embraced the situation and said this is what we're doing and was very decisive about it.
Lisa, I have another question. In terms of you now having to use your internet and the expense that goes with it, does the company subsidize that at all, or how do you claim for that, or is it part of your package, or was it not something that was discussed?
It was never discussed, Viola, but it was when this came up, our boss did contact us and said, do you guys have a stable connection? Do you guys need any assistance? And we had to have one or two of our laptops taken home with our support staff, because our support staff had desktops at the office. So we had got laptops for them, and the laptops were set up like a week before lockdown. It was set up and so that they could work from home. So yes, it was something that was done quite easily. But there was support that if we needed it, they would support us. But we luckily were all have high speed, unlimited
fiber.
Very important. And fiber. Yes.
That brings up a very interesting conversation in terms of your sort of so-called cubicle workers and having desktops and lockdown and security issues, for example. You know, how do you take that offline? How, you know, our companies, did they have time to get laptops for everyone that could work from home that didn't have a personal one? Or are they allowing staff to now work from their personal laptops, accessing their intranet, for example, and how do they deal with the security issues? I think that'll be an interesting conversation to have.
We were fortunate that we
I
had
think so.
spare units. So our support staff, we had 2 people that needed it, and we were lucky enough to have the 2 additional units already in place. So a week before the time, we just got our IT department to set it up, and so we were in a fortunate situation.
You know what? One of the things that's coming up for me quite clearly is that there's so many things for us to be thinking about now. You know, just like for new employees, if this is the way the company is going to go, then, you know, the whole idea of how will you support me with technology, with, you know, with the costs of my fiber, et cetera, all those things actually now need to be considered as part of your contractual agreement. You know, I don't think
we normal.
That's going to be part of our new normal. Yeah. So, you know, as much as this is not normal and we shouldn't be normalizing it, I think there are going to be lessons that come out of here for us. And I think employment contracts are going to look very different. I think a lot of employers are going to, having experienced this, say to you, you need to go on your annual leave situation. That, you know, just say, you know, I'm expected to work in this level of support. So I think things are going to look radically different in terms of that contractual agreement at the end of this whole process.
I do agree with you. Again, I think I'm in a fortunate situation where our HR has liaised with us and told us that we are on special leave at the moment for the 21-day lockdown period. So again, I think a fortunate situation where a special leave was given to us. But again, I think that's, like you say, it's going to be re-looked at once we know where the country is going after the 21-day period. So I do think it's going to look totally different. I do think there's lots of new things and new ways people are going to have to do things.
Correct.
In that space.
Correct. So, Liesl, in terms of schooling now with the kids, how are you finding the kids are? Look, Shay keeps reminding me it's still school holiday. You know, it's still school holiday until that.
And I think that is why I've been so soft with my kids.
You know,
I think that's the reason why I've been as soft as I am.
Yeah, no, you are in good company. I said, you know what, he needs a break. He needs to just be able to down tools. We all do. I mean, it's one of the most frustrating things when you go on and you go on your holiday. You spent money to go fly overseas, and then you get overseas, and your spouse or your sister or your companion, your colleague, whatever, starts working. I mean, you really just need to down tools. So it's school holiday at the moment, and Shay reminds me of that constantly. But are you feeling any kind of pressure to sort of get things ready for when school does start, which is going to be in a few days anyway?
Not at all. We actually starting back on the 14th of April. That's the school my kids go to. I got one at the high school and one at the senior primary at the same school, different campuses. And we also, again, in the fortunate situation where we've been using Google Classroom for quite a while in our curriculum. Okay. So the kids are set up. The Google Classroom is already set up, and the school's been communicating very well with us as to how we're going forward. But school's starting on the 14th of April officially, so they will be getting. Part of our curriculum also is everyone has to have their own device. So my son has an iPad and my daughter has a computer. So everything's already been set up. They on the 6th of April, which is Monday, they're going to be doing all these setups. So Monday, we will be setting everything up that's needed for school. And then the following week, the 14th, school officially starts. And they'll be expected to put in a few hours per day.
Okay. That makes sense.
Again, I just sorry, Brigitte, go ahead.
No, carry on, Liesl.
Okay, I just wanted to say about the time off for the kids. With them being so busy, it's often 12-hour days that the kids have sometimes, and even with my 11-year-old, it's 5 days a week where he gets home at 4 p.m. every day, and that's because it's extramurals, and it's starting school often at 6:30 in the morning for extramurals. So it's pretty long days that the children are used to having, and that's, besides still coming home and doing homework and projects, etc. So for me, I've taken this opportunity to press pause on life. They do extramurals such as soccer outside of school. My kids do dancing out of school. So everything is being paused at the moment, because normally during school holidays, they're still doing football, they're still doing dancing, but at this time, everything is paused. So I'm really taking it as a mental break, as a physical break, and I'm loving it. I'm actually really, really loving it, to be honest with you. And I'm grateful that they're having this opportunity to just clear the mind, do things like I love the fact that your story about the gardening yesterday, and do things that they would normally never have time to do. And so that's the things that I'm just completely enjoying with them at the moment. I celebrated my 20th wedding anniversary 2 days ago, which I'm very proud of.
Congratulations.
And my daughter cooked us a pot of lamb biryani for supper, which was quite her first time. And that's the kind of things we're able to do. She's able to do now. I sat and I watched and I told her, okay, 5 of this and 2 of that and so on. But she done it completely by herself. So on a normal day, that's not something that we have time for. So so I'm really appreciating the downtime. I'm a quarantine type of girl.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think that is something that literally we need to be communicating out of here. I think it's different strokes for different folks. But I think the idea of literally just using this time to cut it out, just chill, just give them the time to, experience new things, make lamb biryani, do a bit of gardening, gardening and wash the dog. And of course, with the whole
gardening.
Washing
was a good one.
Correct. And I think it's a nice time to teach them other things, to get them out of the school curriculum and teach them how to cope with life, how to do ironing, how to do cooking, how to do, baking. Just start using this time to teach them the things we don't have the time to teach them. I mean, one of the things that is on my list of things to teach Shay this week, next week going forward, is laundry. Come on, dude. He's constantly just like, trying to get him to pack his pajamas into the drawer is huge. But just trying to get him to understand, this is how you do laundry and you have to hang it up, and it's quite a process. And I think what you're doing is the right thing. It's just, let's, sort of get the chance to just, all of us, to just take a break, clear our minds, do the things we don't get to do normally over this period, because as soon as this is done, it's going to become crazy again. I think even more crazy. I don't know, Brigitte, how do you feel? It's gonna be crazy when, as soon as they open those doors and everybody's allowed to do their thing again, you are going to work an incredible number of hours just trying to get everything done that couldn't be done.
I think you've touched on a point, I first of all, I just want to say, I think one of the unintended consequences of the lockdown is that we are having time to reconnect with each other and with our families a little bit more, which I think is amazing. But yes, Paolo, you did touch on a valid point there. I don't think anyone has really talked much about how do we get back, how do we move forward from this? Because I don't know if you saw that infographic that I shared earlier on screen. Was kind of showing how the different sectors of our economy has changed and is going to be changing moving forward from here, because this is business unusual. Nothing's going back to the way we're not going back to what we knew. We're going into a new normal when we come out of this. And so I think it's going to take a lot of strategic planning to make that adaptation as we move forward out of this, because right now we still don't know. I mean, we're under lockdown for 21 days. We're on day 8. But the next week or so is still a very critical period for South Africa in terms of to what extent are we flattening the curve? And I think that's going to be the determining factor of, are we going to stay with 21 days? Do they need to extend it? And that's got other consequences for all the sectors.
Correct.
But I also think, I saw David van Schalkwyk speaking about startups. I think especially for our small businesses actually need to sit down and say, how do I, as soon as they announce that there is no longer a lockdown, how do I plan for that? How am I going to sit down? And even corporates, I think all businesses need to sit down so that when it happens, not everybody's then overwhelmed, shouting orders and screaming and sending the troops left and sending the troops right. I really do think you need to have some kind of plan in place for when lockdown is over. And that's the kind of stuff you could be working on now. Small businesses need to say, the first 5 days, all we're doing is contacting our clients and telling them, going to reassess, have their needs changed? Are the expectations of us different? Sit down and say, this is our plan of action moving forward. But I don't think we're giving that enough consideration yet, and now's the right time to do it. Because if this thing is extended, you would have been spending your time, wisely, doing what you need to do.
Yeah, as Alfredo is saying on Twitch, he's saying, you've got to assume that we could be in this for the long haul. It's not going to be over very quickly. I mean, even in the US, for example, they've taken over as the epicenter. Right now they've got the highest death rate, and yet in some parts of the states, we're not. A lot of their lockdown is suggestions. It's not legislated as we have it in South Africa. So they may still need to move on, and unfortunately, we're not, we're not an island on our own. So, the economy is dependent on the global mass, not just what happens in South Africa. And I think it's, at this point, it's really difficult to even make that succession plan until we know where we're at, and we don't know.
Have some kind of timeline.
Yeah. But I do think it needs to be added to our list of things to do. It needs to be part of all business. We have to sit down and start saying, okay, great. Those who used to be training, we're now busy creating training manuals. Those who used to do that, this is what we're doing during lockdown. But I do think CEOs and business owners really do have the responsibility of saying, when this thing is over, this is how we are actually going to be taking it forward for that first week, for the 2 weeks, just so that people have a plan. Because I strongly suspect that when this thing is over, everybody's going to be falling over their feet. If you've got a plan and a very specific plan of how you're going to move forward, your staff will feel a lot more confident about, it's now over. I know what it is that I need to do, etc., etc. That's I actually feel quite strongly about that. I think it's got to be. It's almost like when you start a business, very few people think of an exit plan. They're so enthusiastic about their new business and how much money they're going to make. Nobody's thinking that, I have to sit down and say, if in 2 years' time this thing's not making money, I have to close it down. Nobody wants to have that conversation.
I think that's a very valid point, and something that I think we also need to discuss again in future conversations like this. Find out who's got an exit out of the COVID-19 lockdown.
Yeah,
if you something to give thought to, yes.
Yeah.
One thing that we have been doing to keep ourselves busy, sorry, Viola.
Go ahead.
We've from a team, from a point of, we've cleaned up. So we're doing a lot of cleanup with our accounts, for example, just making sure that, things that you don't have time to do in a normal workday. So looking at every customer, making sure that the contract, making sure that everything is in place, the plan, the whatever we've agreed to is correct. And if there was any changes that happened, and making sure that the change has been put into place and so on. So we've done a lot of that type of cleanup at the moment. That's what we're doing. And something else that we're also doing to keep ourselves busy in this period is our company has a training academy online. So they've sent us a whole lot of courses that we can do in the meantime while we're home too. So again, educating ourselves, keeping us, ahead of, just things that we again don't have time usually for in a normal day. Something that would normally take us a month, we could finish now in 1 week. So,
Correct.
So I'm quite excited and looking forward to doing more of the training programs that we have.
And there are a lot of pluses. We have talked about how, you're no longer spending that 2 to 4 hours in traffic. So you've got that extra time where you can actually be productive and do succession planning. And as you said, doing stuff you don't normally have time for.
Yeah. Lisa, what's the one thing you're missing the most, with this whole lockdown? What is the one thing that, as soon as they announce lockdown's over? Huh?
Take out food.
My head, we are so on the same path.
I think that's
McDonald's has never looked that good. KFC's never looked this good. It's crazy. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I've realized, Viola, that I'm quite the quarantine type person, because as long as I've got this internet connection, I've got some good material to read, things to keep me busy, downtime with the kids. I've been quite comfortable, and I must be honest, I'm not really missing much. My husband and my daughter, they're struggling a little bit, because they're more of they need that interaction, and like you were saying earlier on, Brigitte, about the teenagers that just needs that, that they need to see their friends. So they're struggling more than what I'm struggling. So I must be honest, the internet has been a savior for me. If I didn't have this unlimited internet and the good connection that I have, I would have struggled a little bit. But other than that, not missing anything, to be honest.
I must say, I still haven't seen our internet service providers come to the party with discounts. Yeah. Because they're coining it. They're coining it at the moment, and I haven't seen them come forward with discounts.
Who are you with, Liesl?
I'm with MWeb, and our fibers with a company called Frogfoot, sorry. And they've actually given us double the speed for the next 3 months, from starting the 1st of April.
Wow! So, shout out to Frogfoot.
That was quite impressive. They've increased doubled our speed for the next 3 months.
Well done.
That is a huge shout out to them, and hopefully the other network service providers will follow.
Yeah, that's awesome, and maybe we should be talking more about it, and hopefully trying to raise that as an issue. But I'm sure, as soon as one person does it, all of them start doing it. Then nobody wants to get it done. But Liesl, thank you very much for spending time with us and chatting to us. It's always so lovely to catch up with you and to just, have a chance to chat.
I'd just like to leave one last comment, Viola.
Yes, go ahead.
It's just that, this is a difficult time for everybody, and like everyone's saying, we don't know what to expect. But I do think it's how you react to it that makes a big difference. So I just want to, it's the positive attitude is what's going to make the difference to all of us. So we don't have any choice. We are here. We're going nowhere. So we have to make the best of it. So I think that's been what's made it easy for me, is that I've looked at it in a manner where there's nothing I can do about this. So I have to make the best of the situation. And again, I think I'm blessed to have the internet connection that I do. But yeah, so we just have to be positive, and share that positivity with our family, because I think that my parents and my husband's parents, they're struggling with the lockdown more than what we are. I don't think social media and the internet is as important to them as it is to my generation. So I think just keeping that connection with our parents and people that doesn't have the same setup that we have, and just to keep in touch with them, because it's a very I'm sure they're missing that human touch and that human connection more than anything else.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us live, and we hope that you'll share the broadcast. And before we close, let us not neglect to say that the CuppaChino Club does not in any shape or form endorse fake news, misinformation about the coronavirus. And a reminder out there that sharing fake news about the coronavirus is punishable under South African law at the moment. So you'll be committing a criminal offense. So just please be sure to pause before you hit the share button.
Yeah.
Just take a moment, take a breath. There's a website, a government website, where you can check out to see whether the information is true and correct before you hit share.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brigitte. Thank you,
everybody.
Paola.
Lisa, thank you so much for spending time with us. Brigitte, thank
Awesome.
you. Yeah, we've got another exciting guest tomorrow. I'm looking forward to our discussion tomorrow. But today's discussion was awesome. Thank you very much, Liesl.
Thank you, ladies. Good evening.
Thanks everyone from Cape Town in South Africa. It's goodbye from now on. Brigitte Lambanda signing off.
Thanks, guys. Bye.